that the way Jenny Williams was killed?
Yes. Find something?
Animal tracks.
Whoever is bitten by a werewolf and lives becomes a werewolf himself.
Oh, don't hand me that. You're just wasting your time.
The wolf bit you, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. You wouldn't want to run away with a murderer, would you?
Oh, Larry, you're not. You know you're not.
I killed Bela. I killed Richardson. If I stay here any longer, you can't tell who'll be next.
Hello, welcome to Movie Umpers. My name is Bob Sham.
My name is Angela.
The sounds you hear may be dogs or wolves.
Ooh.
Wolves. Halloween Hump Fest. We're in the last leg of it. We've had a great time. Every Monday is Universal Monster Monday. And today we're talking about The Wolfman from 1941, directed by George Wagner, written by Kurt Siodmak, starring Lon Chaney Jr., Claude Rains, Evelyn Ankers, Bela Lugosi, Ralph Bellamy. Cinematography by Joseph Valentine. We have touched base on all the original releases of the Universal Monsters except for three. The first, Frankenstein by James Whale, Dracula, the one that started it all, and one lesser known Universal monster, the one that's on the bottom of the list, the one that everyone forgets. Do you remember who it is?
The Phantom of the Opera.
The Phantom of the Opera. And yeah, we will not get to that one this year. But we do have three left on the table, and then a bunch of random ass sequels where they team up with Abbott and Costello for whatever reason or whatnot. But we're going through the cores of the Universal Monsters, and maybe next year we'll get to the Phantom of the Opera. Our last Universal Monster Monday discussion, The Wolf Ma'am.
Ma'am?
The Wolf Ma'am. That should be the sequel. That should have been the sequel. Like that Bride of Frankenstein and The Wolf Ma'am.
Right. Why can't one of these women get bit and live?
Yeah, Evelyn Ankers should have become the Wolf Ma'am for the next movie. The Wolf Man, you know Lon Chaney Jr., right? Claude Rains is in this. A pretty low-key role for a Mr. Rains compared to The Invisible Man.
This, I believe, is my first Lon Chaney Jr. movie.
I couldn't tell you anything else that he has been in.
Okay, I knew
I don't
he was
know.
famous for this, but I didn't know if he did other horror movies in the day that I wasn't aware of.
This is his biggest movie.
Fair.
He's a big dude.
I was going to say, he would make sense as a Frankenstein.
Yeah, he could have been a Frankenstein.
These other characters, but those were already cast. This is what he gets. And
this is what you get, Lon Chaney Jr.
He's a giant.
You're a dog, Lon Chaney Jr.
You're a dog.
A dog.
You're a dog. A dog. A dog.
He is a huge man, and Claude Rains is his tiny daddy.
It's his tiny daddy.
And he came home after being gone for 18 years. There's a big painting on the wall of a twin brother who has just died in a hunting accident.
James, yeah. Goodbye, James.
Thought
that
for
James,
a good 30 minutes of this that James was going to be the Wolfman.
That would have been a great idea.
Exactly. He's there, and all of a sudden they think it's him, but it's not him. It's his brother that they think is dead.
For the Universal Monster Monday selections, we're recording way out ahead of time. But by the time this episode drops, this will be the third werewolf movie discussion.
Amazing.
We'll have hit up. Though it's the first for us discussing. But there's some lore around in this one that I guess I'm not up on my werewolf lore. Like I know about silver bullets and stuff.
But also silver knives and silver
anything.
tipped canes.
Silver anything.
For sure. That silver gets into their blood, they're gone.
Apparently, I mean, I guess this is a curse that we got gypsies all over this one. It's also Bela Lugosi as a fortune teller who is a werewolf. But did you know that when a werewolf can see when someone's going to die, a pentagram appears in their hands? The pentagram thing, it's real interesting, the gimmicks that they use for these old movies, because you get the feeling that the pentagram used in a more modern context would feel a lot more dreadful. You know, there's just something about the symbology that when they're discussing it back then, it feels a lot more casual, like it's maybe not that big a deal, which is strange because we're in Hays Code era and they get real uptight about some things, but it just seems like the pentagram may have been one that might have triggered the Hays Code, but that appears to be something whose association got a lot more intense as time went on.
Yeah, it didn't carry all of the satanic undertones and whatever that it does now, because the very first image of this movie looks like an excerpt from an encyclopedia talking about lycanthropy. Lycanthropy, thank you. I get nervous with the words have trouble saying. So lycanthropy, and it mentions the pentagram as the symbol. He doesn't even know what a pentagram is that when he buys this cane, it has a pentagram and a wolf's head on it. And the woman explains to him, and everyone in this town knows about werewolves. Everyone in this town has the same little poem that they recite to tell you about when Wolfsbane's out, the werewolf's going to be a werewolf.
Oh, look! Oh, Wolfbane. Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright.
So you know that one too, huh?
Of course. Everyone knows about werewolves.
The
Is that a
girl
real
says
plant?
it. Yeah, the flowers they pick.
Why do they call it that? Do wolves not like it?
I don't know.
Is it stinky to them? Maybe I should have did a little research on that.
Yeah,
but I
maybe you
didn't.
should have looked it up. Now, it could be a regional name for a different plant, right? But I've heard of wolfsbane. I've heard of wolfsbane. Yeah, so we find out that when you're bit by a werewolf, where you're bit, you get a scar in the shape of a star.
Well, the actual
star.
bite mark will disappear. This seems real practical in an occult way.
Because werewolves heal fast.
They heal, but then it will replace with a star. Okay, sure.
Right. And it's not always visible. The star is more visible when you're going to turn into a werewolf, because
it doesn't seem like a full moon matters here either. Like he turns into a
no,
werewolf
it's the time
like
of
every
year
night.
when the wolf's bane is blooming. They do say at nightfall, but there's no full moon mentioned at all.
A couple of things threw me off here. I expected to see a full moon, the clouds leaving a full moon.
Even once.
And I expected him to be killed with a silver bullet specifically at the end, which he is killed by silver, but he's not getting shot. Maybe
they mentioned silver bullets.
You think that's a Hays Code thing? It's not like there wasn't mobster movies back then and people
Well,
weren't
they
getting
shot him with other guns, and they said they hit him, but it didn't phase him.
It was like off camera, though.
It was
like, we
off.
don't
You're
really
right.
see
Yeah,
anything.
it was off camera.
But Larry Talbot comes home to Wales with his dad, and the relationship with... You had to remind yourself that that Lon Chaney Jr.'s character and Claude Rains' characters were father and son, because it didn't really feel like it
I
as
thought
you
I
go
misheard
through.
it at first.
Because when there's a lot of suspicion as to what's going on, it seems like Claude Rains' character is doing most of the investigating. Like it seems like he's investigating against his son, even though he's not completely convinced, because people have to be convinced of werewolfness. Also, Larry is cruising on the Evelyn Ankers character, Gwen Conliffe. He's an astronomer, and he sees a telescope into her shop, and he's able to pick out some jewelry, and then he straight up creeps up on her like, oh, what about those earrings up in your upstairs?
And tries to tell her he's psychic. That was a plot point that got dropped like a hot fucking potato. His dad is an astronomer. He works with his hands. So he was fixing this for his dad and saw her when he was testing the refraction
of the telescope.
But that's also what I thought would lead into like the moon and the stars and all of that. Nothing. We never saw that telescope again. It was just a means to see this woman.
When Lon Chaney Jr. is cruising on Evelyn Ankers, and my brain knows that he's going to become the Wolf Man, but it felt kind of predatory.
It was.
Like how insistent he was. And there's at one point where she keeps telling him no, she's engaged, right?
She doesn't tell him she's engaged until the end.
So we're pushing the Hays Code parameters here there. And then he is waiting for her outside of the shop when she gets off, but she kind of expects him and has a friend. Like, so he's He's coming to a date, and she's brought her friend. The bros know that this is going to be, it's a very delicate situation. Either you're going to have to rizz up this friend, you could take the opportunity to rizz up the friend,
So she talks good about you later.
or you could just be a bitter little, act like a bitter, angry incel. But it seems like he takes it all in stride, and they're going to go see the fortune teller, Bella.
Bella Lugosi
It's
is
played by
playing
Bella Lugosi.
and his mother travels with him, little old lady. Loved her also. They never say her name in the movie, but it's Malvella, I believe. And he's reading the cards for the friend, Jenny.
Yeah. While they
And-
walk off in
Well,
the
this
night.
is, he takes the first opportunity, Lon Chaney, to say, let's go on a walk. When he gets her into the woods and he tries to kiss her, that's when she tells him she's engaged. But meanwhile, Bella's reading Jenny's cards and she's picked some wolfsbane on the way.
Can you tell me when I'm going to be married?
He notices it, throws it to the ground, and then he grabs his head and you see his star on his forehead. And then he says,
Your hands, please. Your left hand shows your past, your right hand shows your future.
and she pulls her hands out, and this is when we first see it's like this.
The pentagram.
The pentagram appears and then goes away. Only he can see it. He tells her, "Get out of here! Get out of here now!"
But it's because he's about to turn into a fucking wolf, and sure enough, he does. And the way they play it is actually pretty good. I like the settings of the woods and the forest because they're not
very
gonna
creepy.
They're not gonna have like a proper trained wolf, but they're gonna show you just enough to make it work. So she gets killed in the shadows, and Larry Talbot sees what's going on, and he's behind a tree, and you see his silhouette just beating a wolf behind a tree.
The silhouette of the wolf that you see looks like a real wolf.
I think we
It
saw.
doesn't look like a man wolf.
I think we just saw a dog for like a hot second.
Yeah, exactly. You get the snout and the whole thing. I get it, but also then it's weird when he turns into a wolf and looks like Lon Chaney with hair on his face.
Yeah, it's like he only goes halfway.
Yeah, maybe the longer you're a wolf, the more wolf-like you become.
I've seen that interpretation where, we've seen it go both ways, where you're like half man, half looking wolf, or you just become a wolf.
Right.
And I personally prefer half man, half wolf.
I do too.
It just looks cooler. Larry does get bit in the process, and there's an investigation going on and Larry's like, yeah, I swear I got bit, but he shows no bite marks. So I was like, okay. So he's number one suspect because the cane was used to beat the wolf.
And he was covered in blood and
But-
now has no bite.
But they see no wolf. They see the body of Bella.
The way you walked was thorny, through no fault of your own. But as the rain enters the soil, the river enters the sea, so tears run to a predestined end. Your suffering is over, Bela, my son.
They do let him have his murder weapon back, despite the fact that he's under
They
investigation.
leave it
That's
in
really
his room.
That's really nice of them, actually. But there's also this lore surrounding the werewolves where some people believe it, and the Romanis are explaining they're open to this lore, but none of the townsfolk. This movie reminds me of later Hammer horror movies where you're not sure what century you're in, really. Well, I guess with the astronomy stuff, it's probably 20th century, but other than that, outside of that, it's like we could be in the 19th century, we could be in the 20th. I'm not entirely sure.
Because they also live in a castle.
Yeah, right.
And so this is the town around the castle, and you do get that old world stories, superstitions, all of that, which is real. And everyone in the town knows about it, but they don't really believe it.
Well,
or when they're presented with the option for it, they think it's insane. The dad is very much investigating it, but it's because he and the doctor are afraid that his son is losing his mind, and he needs his son to be okay and ready to take over his business,
Right.
whatever that is. With astronomy.
Castle astronomy.
Castle astronomy. We've seen that before.
We have?
Castle astronomy was in Melancholia.
Oh, right. Oh. Little throwback there. What do you know? The night comes around and Mr. Shaney Jr.
Shaney.
Shaney Jr. he turns into the Wolfman, and we see him running around, but he doesn't have control. He has a bloodlust. He has no control.
No memories while he's
and
the
no
wolf.
memories, and he kills this guy who's tending graves, which is pretty sad. It's quite a tragic story here. I mean, this guy, he becomes something. He doesn't want to be this. He is a good man, but he just becomes a murderous werewolf.
He also fucks up because before he turns into the wolf, he goes and finds the gypsy woman. And she tells him, I've been waiting for you to come and see me. And she tells him he's a werewolf. She tells him Bella was a werewolf and that he got bit and show me the scar. He shows her the scar. She gives him a medallion that if he will wear it over his heart, it will protect him from turning.
But he
He immediately gives it to the girl to protect her.
He gives it to Gwen, to protect her.
But she wouldn't need protecting if he wore it so he wouldn't turn.
It seems like at some point, I mean, at that point, he's not totally convinced, so you kind of understand. But at some point, they know, and it's like, okay, give me that so I can stop turning into a fucking...
But it's gone. We don't ever see the amulet again.
And he turns a few times, and the father knows, he pretty much realizes that he's turning, right?
They think it's just a regular wolf, and they've got these hunting parties out trying to find it.
But he ties his son up in a chair, and while they're going to go out and they're going to look for what they think might be a werewolf, they don't know. But they tie his son up. It still bothers me we don't see the full moon shot.
I know.
It bugs me.
He insists his father take the cane with the silver tip.
Yeah. And Gwen is out there hanging out because why not? And so sure enough, we don't see him break free, but we know he's going to break free.
She's also in love with him because right before this, he goes to see her to just say goodbye to her, that she can't be around him. It's bad news. She's ready to go pack a bag and run away with him and leave her fiance. So she's head over heels for this guy.
Yeah.
That is being real shady.
Well, he's just scared. And
the gypsy woman tries to tell her at one point, come with me, you're in danger, and she doesn't.
So the Wolfman, he's out and about, and he tries to abduct the lady, and he picks her up, and then we get a standoff. The people are chasing him around, but they're going all over the place. But Claude Rains hears Gwen scream, and he comes up, and he's got the cane, and then he beats the Wolfman to death the same way that Larry beat Bella to death. When we see the transition at first, we see his limbs get hairy, and then you see him run around in the forest and he's got the face on. But this is the part where we see him de-wolf and he turns back into Lon Chaney Jr. That's the peak of special effect at that point, I suppose.
I liked the way they did it though, because it was fading out one image into the next. So while it wasn't perfect, it looked good. I liked it.
Yeah.
And you got the surrealness also of that's happening, and the old woman is there saying this thing that she said to her son.
The way you walked was thorny, through no fault of your own. But as the rain enters the soil, the river enters the sea. So tears run to a predestined end. Your suffering is over. Now you will find peace for eternity.
He didn't mean to do any of the things that he did. It's The Wolfman is a tragic story.
It is. The Tragedy of the Wolfman from 1941. That's what it should be called.
It should be.
The Tragedy of the Wolfman. Yes, The Wolfman, 1941, directed by George Wagner. A very simple movie, but in some ways it had some turns we didn't expect. But I think we were just coming in with some basic lore in our head. This is the first time we've watched this movie, and yeah, you couldn't give me one cloud moving past some full moons here.
It didn't even matter.
It didn't. It just had to be nighttime. And the pentagram thing, is that carryover? We'll find out when we discuss our other werewolf movies that will appear before this episode. So
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, was there pentagrams in Teen Wolf?
No,
I don't think so.
No, just
that actually was probably the werewolf movie I watched the most.
That was one of my favorite movies as a child.
So, The Wolfman, 1 through 5 each, combined for best out of 10. You know, in some ways, I really love the settings, the way it all looked, the way the silhouette shots throughout the movie. I thought looked really sharp. But gauging it against the other Universal monster movies we watched this month, I really enjoyed The Mummy quite a bit. That one kind of took me by surprise how much I liked that one. Creature from the Black Lagoon is very technically marvelous, but a part of it was almost a little too generic as well. The Invisible Man is fucking awesome.
I fell in love with The Invisible Man. That one surprised me of how much I loved it. That movie was delightful.
I don't think the Wolfman feels generic in the way that parts of Creature from the Black Lagoon do. And I can't remember what we gave that one, but I'm going to give this one a 3.25.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
6.5.
6.5.
That feels right. Lon Chaney just looks like a giant, like St. Bernard.
He should have turned into a St. Bernard.
He could have been, what was that movie that came out probably a decade after this where the guy did turn into a big dog and he was a detective?
The Shaggy Dog?
Yeah. And the Shaggy Detective?
He's a DA. He was a DA.
Lon Chaney also strikes me as someone who would be a cop in a David Lynch movie.
So check it out at a 6.5. The Wolfman is right under The Emperor Jones, The Wolfman by George Wagner. And he's above the 6.25 rated movie Blonde by Andrew Dominic. A controversial rating for that movie. I liked it better than you. But, sometimes I just like a shit show. But The Wolfman by George Wagner from 1941 sits at a 6.5. That does it for Universal Monster Mondays. And I think we got one more John Carpenter Tuesday selection. And then it'll be Halloween Eve and then Halloween Day. And on Halloween Day, we wrap up the Halloween franchise that we started last year. So stay spooky and get ooky. Like, subscribe. Check the show notes for links, other places to find us. Let us know what you think of Lon Chaney Jr. in The Wolfman.
Happy Halloween.
Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright.